When I first joined Shaw Brothers, I was the manager of publicity. I was hired as a publicity man because of my journalistic background. I studied journalism in Shanghai at St. John's University. When I came back to Hong Kong, I joined the Hong Kong Standard as a reporter. So when Sir Run came to Hong Kong to set up Shaw Brothers, he was looking for someone to handle publicity. And my professor introduced me, so that's how I started.
就是这不住的青山隐隐，流不断的绿水悠悠。
How long did you work at shows?
All told 11 years. I think the first year was publicity, but since I had a lot of complaint about the products, which of course not openly. I mean, I complained to him that it's very difficult for me to publicize a film that I do not believe in, do not like myself. There's only so many lies I can tell. I mean, I cannot really exaggerate, and nobody would believe us. So somehow I said, well, why don't you take over this? Why don't you contribute your opinion to the scripts committee, the directors committee, and all that. So pretty soon I became very active in that direction and ending up in taking over production. I've got quite a few directors and other production staff from Korea, from Japan, when I worked for Shaw Brothers. We produced a lot of pictures in Hong Kong, but the industry was very, very much enclosed. It's very seldom you have outside ideas, outside talents. So my idea is to broaden the circle, to get new people with new ideas in every respect, not just scripts or directors, but also photographers, cameramen, everything. So we start looking for co-production with Japan, with Korea, where we found somebody I think is good enough and they're willing to come to Hong Kong to work for a certain period of time. We hire them. So that's I think that's good not only for us, but also good for them. I love movies since I was a little boy. I saw many movies, and of course I liked many of them. But when I joined the film business in Hong Kong, I found that I haven't found some pictures that I really like. So the urge is always there that perhaps I should try my own hand in making pictures. Because if you work for a big company, your idea may not be heard or put into practice all the time. So the only way is to set up your own company and take charge of your own destiny. Bruce is a very charismatic person. He's a real genius, really, in his field, in his own way. He's very sensitive to many things. So when you can be open to him and understanding him and try to work with him to help him realize his own thinkings, his own theories, he's very happy. So the first time I saw him on television, he did something I thought it was fantastic. It's never been done before by other people. So I looked for him, but he has already returned to San Francisco. So I called him up. I got his phone number. I called him up and talked to him. Somehow we hit off very well. And he said, "So, how do we step forward?" It's very easy. If you like, I'll send a producer to talk to you with a contract. You sign the contract, you come back, I'll get that script ready, and we just go. I said, "Great, I like that." So I sent somebody to sign him up, and when he decided to do something, he wanted to do it right away. So he said, "We don't want to waste any time. If everything is ready, I'll go to work." I said, "Fine. You don't even have to stop in Hong Kong. We have a picture set up in Thailand, in Bangkok." I said, "That's for you." And I told him the story. He liked the idea. So I sent a producer there and took him. I just talked to him at the Hong Kong airport on the way to Bangkok. He didn't even stop over in Hong Kong. Right? And I started working right away. And he's the kind of guy that he want to work, set up the work, you just go ahead. The Game of Death was actually never finished. It's no way to really finish it the way he wanted or the way we want, because he actually hasn't found the person who's the biggest enemy that he has to conquer, which is on top of the pagoda. That's actually was the delay. We were looking for all sorts of people, and we tried everything. We heard that somebody in Korea can kill a cow with bare hands, just bam. So we went there and interviewed him, but it's really not what we want. Bruce Lee even used his own influence, run the risk of being sued, get Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to come to play a role there. Kareem worshipped Bruce, and Bruce was the sifu for Kareem. And he told me the story that Kareem came to him to want to learn Kung Fu. And Bruce said, Christ, look at him. You really have to look at him like that. He said, but you are big and strong, you know, why do you want to learn Kung Fu? He said, no, I've been bullied by everybody. I want to learn Kung Fu. And so Bruce took him in, and he learned so much that he beat up a few of the people who tried to bully him before. So he just listened to whatever Sifu, which is a teacher who Bruce Lee was. Bruce called him and asked him to come to make the picture. I also didn't realize, I kind of knew a little bit, but I didn't realize that we were running a big, big risk, because if anything happened to Kareem during shooting, he probably would be sued like anything by
the whole NBA.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that was all done. But unfortunately, Bruce had the accident and passed away, and we never finished it. Hong Kong movies, as you know, basically is Cantonese. Yes, we have a Mandarin version and all that, but basically it's Cantonese. So our market was very, very much limited. Our market was limited to Hong Kong itself, Singapore, Malaysia, Bangkok, Thailand, and Taiwan. So it's a really very small market. But we managed to, I think people in Hong Kong are very commercial, and they're thinking everything is whatever you want, whatever you like, we cater to your likings. So we survive, we could survive, not only survive, but we made enough money to expand and win in the Hong Kong film industry. But for such a small market, we do. So when I set up Golden Harvest myself, I decided that, hey, with we can survive in such a small market, what if we expand into it? It's the same. Well, moviegoers virtually are the same all over the world. They like to see what they want. If you can cater to their likings, it's easy. So we start with Japan and Korea, and we make really huge success there. And after that, we are pretty well, Golden Harvest was pretty well established. And at that time, China mainland was not open yet, so we don't have that market. Although our films were all seen in China through video thing, without any income to us, of course. But then we can only look to the overseas, to Hollywood and to Europe. So that's how we started to do. Everybody wants to go to Hollywood and say that we want to share the market with Hollywood and all that, but very few people really work on that. So I think the only thing to do is the only thing one can do if you really want to learn is to go there. So I went there and I learned I watched how they make films, and decided to try our hands there. And in 2 years, I brought a few people from Hong Kong. Our Hong Kong operation was all still going on with my partner, Mr. Ho, my late partner. handling. So the business was still going on as usual, doing very well. So I can spare some time in Hollywood, flying back and forth. In 2 years, when I was in Hollywood, I go the Hollywood way. I didn't use my own money. I raised money the way American independent producers do. Not that we don't have money, but I want to see, I want to learn how we can make more pictures using a very limited source. So we hire a financial person who was in charge of film business in the Bank of America in Hollywood. So I knew him quite well in the past through film festivals, because he travels all over the world in contact with film companies. So with his help, we raise money and make pictures the Hollywood way. In 2 years' time, we made a total of 19 Hollywood pictures. Only 2 or 3 of them we used some Hong Kong talents. The idea is to put some of our own stars in the pictures, so that perhaps the audience in America and in Europe can get used to a Chinese face. I discovered that actually in America, except for the East Coast and the West Coast, in Middle America, very few people had any contact with the Far East in Asia, especially with China. So they don't know what Chinese movies are, or Chinese people. They don't care, because they never really came in contact. So when I make the Cannonball Run, using Burt Reynolds and virtually all the big names in Hollywood, I also brought in Jackie Chan and Michael Hui to mix together with them, hoping that people will get used to seeing a Chinese face. Perhaps people will think I'm too naive, but that's what my idea, and I think eventually, Jackie Chan is quite well known in Hollywood, and actually worked there. So basically, in 2 years, we made 19 films there, and I decided that that's quite enough. We've learned enough. We have brought enough of our people to work in Hollywood, learning how they control production, just learning all the production techniques. And we came back, we got all of them back to Hong Kong. After we finished the Ninja Turtle series, we came back to Hong Kong and make our own films. And gradually, China was opening up. So I think the Hong Kong film industry is doing very well now. Oh, what would your feeling be if you were doing it? Very happy, just really, really happy. My wife told me that I'm very lucky, which I really believe I'm lucky, because I can receive this award myself in my lifetime. So at least I meet the people who were my peers, who it means a lot. It's not like when somebody passes away and you give him an award for his life achievement. So.